Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm Sybil Wilkes with What You Need to Know. We will talk news headlines and more. I'm very happy to welcome in from the funny chair to our living room chair, or maybe it's his. Is it your living room, or are you in your kitchen, or?
I'm in my living room in
Yeah.
my director's chair, my high
How
director's chair.
perfect.
So you know my feet are swinging.
Hello, Guy Torry.
What's happening?
How
Huggy would
you
have
doing?
a field day with this, me sitting in this chair watching my feet swing
That's quite a visual, yes.
I'm good. I'm managing through this whole, quarantine COVID thing. I was fine the first 3 months. It's starting to kind of get a little crazy. Like I'm
You
starting to feel like not myself lately.
so when you recognize that, what do you do? Because you have been on the road.
Well, yeah, I have been on the road. I did one date in Memphis a couple of weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. That went great, actually. To be honest, it's I brought my own microphone.
Right.
Uh, I brought my own. I wiped the cord down, like I wiped the mic stand down like I was a stripper. Um, and the audience was socially distanced. The club Chuckles in Memphis did a great job at social distancing everyone. The staff wiped everything down. So it was a good time. But it was so funny because I didn't realize how much I did miss, that stage. How much I did miss, just that instant gratification
Yeah.
of that audience. Like I said, I'm quarantining by myself, so
You
I
tell
didn't miss.
jokes and it's crickets for you in the apartment.
Man, well, sometimes on stage too, but they all
No,
don't work.
sir. No, sir.
But it was fun. It was fun. It was great to do.
We're going to talk about that because this is really intriguing me how some comedians are back out there and
Right.
what it's like, as well as, with the poster child for now comedian with coronavirus, and that would be DL Hughley. So we'll talk
Right.
about that. Let's talk a little news.
Yeah.
From the What You Need to Know newsletter, for those of you who are familiar with it, it is 5 things that we curate every day and put together for you, and then send out the newsletter every morning, Monday through Friday morning. It's in your email box. So if you have not, we invite you to please go to sybilwilkes.com and subscribe. Guy has been an early and an ongoing supporter of ours, as well as others. And I really appreciate it. I thank you, Guy, not only for
I need it.
subscribing to the newsletter, but also for coming on and joining us to talk about the things that are in the news. So
Yeah.
sybilwilkes.com and Sybil Wilkes on all social media platforms. And we're here every day, Monday through Thursday, YouTube Live and Facebook Live as well. So welcome aboard, those of you who may just be tuning in for the first time. And let's talk about that guy, your president in the White House.
Your
He's a
president.
tweeting fool. I know. Well, you know what? We all try to give him to somebody else, right?
Right.
What did your president do now? And so he's a tweeting fool, as we know. And over the weekend, he tweeted out a video. And the video was from a senior living center, actually a retirement town. It's called the Villages, but it's an area where retirees live in Central Florida. But that's pretty much all of Florida, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
And he once again tweeted out a message promoting white nationalism. This was Sunday with a note of gratitude. It opened with, "Thank you to the great people of the Villages." And within the first 8 seconds of the video, there were racist chants from one of the villagers driving through a phalanx of people who were Trump opponents, and they had their signs up, and Trump supporters are going through this in their golf carts.
Right.
And this one guy is raising his fist and saying white power, and
Yeah.
the passenger in the golf cart is saying, Trump, 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 Trump. And so once again, we have him, saluting the people who promote white nationalism, and also calling them very fine people, the good people. as he did a few years ago in Charlottesville.
Mhm.
You know, they're fine people, they're good people, and they're good people on both sides.
That
And
was great white on white crime, by the way.
so, Guy, this tweet, as others have pointed out, like Joe Biden pointed out, you know, how he has done not only this time but also in the Charlottesville case, as we mentioned, and Senator Tim Scott, who is the lone Republican,
Right.
the lone African American Republican in the United States Senate, said that he described it as indefensible, this tweet of Donald Trump's. And, you know, just over the last few weeks, Tim Scott has been Donald Trump and the Republican Party's boy.
Right.
And I say
Yeah.
boy, because, you know, he was the one promoting his police bill and the justice and policing bill. And so, you know, he came out there with this really tepid response to what the Democrats have. And they're like, oh, this is great. You know, we're going to go with this and you're going to be our point man on all of this. And he said that he should not have tweeted this and he should take it down. And subsequently, they did take it down. But it's time after time after time. And it's just.
Is it when are they going to wake up? Like when are people going to wake up? I understand if you are white Republican and you get down like that. Okay, that's you. But for the black Republicans, how many passes can you give this guy?
Right.
How many passes can you? He gave you more notices before he was even elected.
Right.
And then now that he's elected, it's like, oh, this is the tweet that did it. This is the straw that broke the camel's back, Tim. I mean, it's crazy. And I talked to people. I talked to, when I was in Memphis, I was at a cigar lounge and there was a veteran, an older black gentleman who was a Trump supporter and was like, just like, I'm like, how do you defend this guy? You know, he's doing a great job. My 401k. And I talked to Mexicans out here who are well off and they are Trump supporters. And it's like, why? It's like this dude is a racist, so I don't care about any of that.
Right.
You know, my money. It's like greed, and that's the reason why this country is the way it is, because of greed.
And it is. It's all about just like the theme song from his reality show, For the Love of Money, and for The Apprentice. And Guy, here's the other thing, with Hispanics especially, you know, he started his campaign calling Mexicans rapists
and murderers.
Yes.
And drug dealers. They bring their drugs, they bring their, it's like, but it's like they're mentally ill. I'm sorry. And if I get flack for this, for calling you mentally ill because you're a black or Mexican Trump supporter, good. I can give a rat's ass. So bring it on. I don't care. You're mentally ill. You're a bigot, if you're a racist, and you are someone who Trump has offended time and time again, and you support this guy and give him a pass. I'm sorry, I'm a Christian, but at the same time, I can forgive him, but I can't support him. I can't rock with him. I don't know why they do it, but it's greed again.
Well, Tim Scott, said that. Yeah, it's the almighty dollar. That's what it is. It's got to be.
He's afraid of losing his seat, so that's why he's supporting Trump as long as one of the black Republicans. And I just don't. I can't wrap my mind around it.
It's a quizzical time. I mean, we talk about 2020 just being one of those years and you know, you want to do a do-over. I don't want to do this over. I want to get through this. I want to get to November 3rd. And that's what is that, 4 months away? From 4 months from Friday is going to be November 3rd. And I want to get to that day. I want the election to take place and I want change. And so I don't want to do this over, but this has just been, these 4 years have just been unlike anything. I would never wish this on anyone. I just wouldn't.
And people say, you know, get back to normalcy. No, I want to be better coming out of this. I don't want to go back to normal. I want to be better in every aspect coming out of this. And he's got to go. And Biden, yes, I'll vote for him. I'm not, you know, I'm not parading down to the polling place, but I will vote for Biden. And anybody's better than this guy.
Yeah, I'm driving folks to the polls. I'm gonna put stamps on their mail-in ballots if they need it. I'm down for the cause because I was talking to my cousin today, and she's out in Orange County, and talking about the conversation with a lot of folks who live in Orange County who are still Trump supporters, and it's really it's defeating. But we have to be collective in this, and as you say, you may not be the greatest flag waver for Joe Biden,
Right.
but a lot of people are swallowing this and saying, we just got to go out there and work for a better day, and that's the answer.
And a lot of the Black Republicans who are veterans, a lot of veterans in our military personnel, and salute to you guys and women out there who protect this country. A lot of them tend to be Republican because Republicans put more money in the budget for our military defense. So I get that, but again, it goes back to greed.
Yeah.
It goes back to like, what's more important? Your liberties, your civil liberties, or your money at the time, because people don't think of the Supreme Court justices that they appoint. People don't think of the long-term effect of having somebody like Donald Trump in office and the people that he appoint. They look at the now, and you got to look at, down the road.
Guy, you are talking what we have in the What You Need to Know newsletter tomorrow. You're talking exactly those things, because we talk about the Supreme Court decision that came down today regarding abortions in the state of Louisiana, and how people voted for Donald Trump because of his promise that he was going to do away with Roe versus Wade. And that meant putting in more conservative justices on the Supreme Court, right? And some of the other lower federal courts. It's not just important that we give the support to the president, whoever that is on the other side running against him, but we've also got to give them support in terms of Senate votes and flipping the Senate. Because if you'll remember, what was it in 2000? Was it 2016, 2015, 2016, when Barack Obama had an opportunity after Scalia died, and he had an opportunity to put another person on the Supreme Court, but he did not have the support in the Senate to make that happen.
Blocked it.
And McConnell and all of the Republicans just said, we're not gonna move forward with this nomination. And so Merrick Garland just sat there, and I don't know where Merrick Garland is today, but he's not on the U.S. Supreme Court. Right. And so we have our duties are multifold in terms of supplying the numbers in the United States Senate. And to your point about the military, all this conversation about what did Donald Trump know about the Russian plan to pay for the kills of U.S. soldiers? And Donald Trump's history with the military is so confusing and perplexing.
It is.
It's really hard to believe that he has support for the military, especially in light of the fact that he didn't, he came up with some bone spurs so he wouldn't have to go and serve like your dad did. How many tours did your dad do?
Did 2 tours in Vietnam.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And then my brother was in Afghanistan and Iraq.
So you are of a military family and you understand this, and his relationship with Putin and not with the military and all of this other kind of stuff, calling John McCain not a war hero, all of these things. And
it's following suit because some of the other Republicans are disrespecting McCain as well, like because he's doing it, because they're following their leader. And it's like, he's a war hero, what they call him, singing John or something. Come on, man.
Yeah.
They're acting like kids. They're acting like children.
And because they're following the neighborhood bully because they're afraid of what other people are going to say and do. And in the end, okay, so here's some good news for folks. The state of Mississippi is going to get a new flag.
Right. Thank you.
How about that?
I'm sure my dad is
126-year-old state flag with the Confederate stars and bars is going away. Woo-hoo. It took long enough, but thank God they pushed it through. And I'm telling you guys, this time is so horrific and so magical at the same time for the things that are happening. Horrific in terms of the coronavirus, but magical in terms of what has and the murders, the virus and the murders that have taken place, and magical in terms of people rising up and in an effort to make differences in our world, in our society.
I can now sing my song again. M-I, cricket letter, I, cricket letter, I, humpback, I, Mississippi, baby.
Come on. Come
Yes.
on.
My dad's from Mississippi, so, rest in peace, but I'm sure he's happy about that.
And my mom's people are from Yazoo City. And so,
oh, wow.
I get it. I get, and as Tom Jordan says, everybody from Chicago's from Mississippi. You just
right.
you straight I-57, and
It's funny you say that because when my dad left Mississippi, he went to Chicago.
See?
Yeah.
How did he get to St. Louis, by the way?
I believe he was stationed there.
Okay.
He had relatives there, but he was stationed at Fort Leonard Wood when he was in the military. Yeah.
And is that where
he got to St. Louis a second time? No, he got to St. Louis a second time. My dad separated for a while. My dad, when he came back from Vietnam, he had PTSD.
Right.
And we were living in Northern California. And he went to work one day, and Mom packed up 6 kids and got on Continental Trailways. And
moved to Beverly.
Moved to New York, moved to Jamaica, Queens.
Wow.
We lived in Jamaica, Queens before St. Louis. And she didn't like how we were fighting all the time. It wasn't a good environment at the time. So she ended up moving us to St. Louis, because they were in St. Louis once before I was born, and ended up being back in St. Louis. And it's almost like a meet me in St. Louis type of thing, because my dad manned up and was like, I got 6 kids growing up without a father. And he sold everything in California and got back with my mom and completely changed our life. Like before then, our life was in black and white. And then when he got back, my mom was in Technicolor again.
Right. When are you going to tell that family story?
It's, I just had an opportunity, an offer to do a book, and I've been fighting it forever.
I know.
That's why originally I was going to do a cookbook instead, because I wanted to take the focus off. Like, no, nobody's going to read my book.
Mm-hmm.
But then several people have just been like, no, you need to tell those stories and that. And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to find an interesting way. I started reading more biographies and autobiographies of, first of all, comedians first, and then, some other reading. But yeah, I guess it's time.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I think you've got something there. And talking about, both of us having folks from Mississippi, this story of this flag situation is just incredible. As I said, they had this flag for 126 years.
Yeah.
And until just a few days ago, it was laughable that changes would have been made on this flag. And not for people who are in the state legislature, who have been fighting for this for generations, Black folks, who couldn't even look up as they're going into their work in the state capitol because they did not want to see that flag. If it were not for people from Mississippi who said that it was time for a change, Faith Hill got on board a couple of days in Mississippi, but there are people like the great Anjanou Ellis. I am such a fan of hers, but I'm an even bigger fan of her talent. I'm a bigger fan of her just resolute determination to change the things in Mississippi. And one of them were the very passionate pleas she made to people to change this flag, amongst others, and scholars and what have you that have been fighting for this. And she has made such a difference in this fight, and many people who have gone unnamed. But here's the thing that's really interesting. They didn't get the flag, they didn't change the flag and put the bars and the stars and bars from the Confederacy till 60 years after the Confederate War, right?
Like a lot of the statues and things, they were done
right.
Really
okay,
to
so
remind us.
They came 100 years after the war, or they came in the 1950s during the civil rights movement.
Right.
They were starting, and they wanted to remind Black folks, look, these are still heroes of our world and our society, of our country. But they were determined to keep this whole Confederate thing going, and so they put it into this flag 60 years after they lost in the Civil War. And then 126 years later, it finally comes down. So it's coming down, it's down. And they have put together a commission, right, of 9 people. They're going to design a new flag. They'll come up with one design and they're going to put it up for a vote. The citizens of Mississippi will vote for it in November. Now, if they don't agree, they will not have a flag until they can come up with one they can all agree on.
Well, I pray they don't use it. I pray they don't use the people who designed the new Rams logo. Because it's
I know
horrible.
You hate that.
It's horrible. So I hope whoever decided that Mississippi flag, please do right by the state and the people who helped build that city, who helped, make that city thrive, not just, white people, but the Blacks, my dad, all his relatives, the people who really make Mississippi great. I don't want to see Peyton Manning's. Is it Peyton Manning's? He went to Ole Miss. Well,
no, he was,
the Manning's. Yeah, I don't want to see his face on the flag.
Peyton Manning was Tennessee, right?
Yeah, but he went. No, his brother. I mean, I'm sorry.
He was Ole Miss.
Eli.
Yeah.
Yes, Eli.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're right. So let me ask you this: what do you think about the? It's a football player or a basketball player, a Black kid who decided he wanted to leave Ole Miss because of the flag. He didn't want that. He didn't want to represent a state that had that flag. And so was he going to Ohio? I want to say he was going to Ohio.
I think it was a football player.
Okay. So he this year he decided he's gonna transfer. However, but he was one of those, I don't want to call him a Johnny come lately, but he was one who at this time has encouraged people to give up the flag. And so here we have it, and it's going to happen. And
that's happening in a lot of things too. I briefly read a young Black girl who refused to wear her track uniform because it was, I think the school was named after Robert E. Lee.
Yes.
And and she refused to wear, the uniform because his name was on it.
She said she's not going. She said, I won't run if I have to wear that.
Let me tell you, my nephew, the one who plays soccer, recently he had a game the other day, and they're over in Budapest in Hungary, and there's still racism over there.
Sure.
And they were the home team, and the crowd started chanting "monkeys" to the opposing team Black players.
Oh my God.
But a couple of Black players on my nephew's team decided to walk off the field because even though you're chanting that to the opposing team,
you just
Black players, they're still Black.
That's right.
It's not just something that's happening in the States. It's something that's happening globally. And I guarantee you, because of the current president is championing and making that, make us feel that they're following suit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's insane.
Just as easily as we have had uprisings and protests in our country, we don't talk about it as much in countries like France or even especially like in countries
in Europe,
like Hungary
and Europe, period,
and in England and all over the European Union. We don't talk about it, but there is a lot of racial unrest. Everywhere.
The players. A lot of soccer players and NBA players, professional basketball players overseas go through a lot of racism. They go through a lot of racism, and some of it more blatant than we do over here.
Yeah,
because they know they're not at home.
Right.
They know they're in a foreign land, so they you feel a little bit more ballsy to be racist. When someone doesn't have a support system over there. So
exactly.
It's global.
Has your nephew, has he experienced anything directly or indirect?
Yeah. Just from how some of the coaches treat them, the Black players versus the other European players. He's done now. He's on his way to Malta to play for another team. So he's nice. And he had to deal with that in the States too. I mean, you're playing soccer. It's not that many African Americans in soccer in the States,
Right.
and overseas you see a lot of Africans and European black they play. But as far as in the States, you don't see a lot of black players playing in the States. So when he even played stateside,
Right.
he witnessed and experienced a lot of racism.
Yeah. Oh, God bless him, and safe travels to him too.
Yeah.
Guy, we were talking about the guy in the White House and his tweets and what have you, but
The
Facebook.
It was an orange cracker.
Okay, but Facebook is facing a lot of challenges, and it's related to their bottom line. And it's over 160, maybe close to 170 companies so far, had big and small, and they're getting bigger. Have decided to pull their advertising at least through the month of July in an effort to show some muscle and disapproval of the way that Facebook and Instagram will not will not pull the racist and negative messages such as what Donald Trump puts out there. And so they did come up with a statement on Friday promising to flag or label all newsworthy posts from politicians that don't follow the rules against hate speech and misinformation. But despite that, the major companies are joining in this Stop Hate for Profit campaign by some of the large civil rights organizations, including the NAACP, Color of Change, and the Anti-Defamation League. And so now we have major companies like Unilever, and Unilever is the umbrella company for a lot of personal products and what have you that you are familiar with. Honda, Verizon, Levi Strauss said that the company is pausing on all Facebook and Instagram advertising globally, at least until the end of July, across all of its brands. And Levi Strauss has a number of brands under them. And Coca-Cola says it's stopping all digital advertising on all social media platforms globally. And that has been also the plan for the Stop Hate for Profit organization, hashtag Stop Hate for Profit, because now that they have gotten all of these American companies on board, they are having meetings with European companies, asking them to put the brakes on their advertising with Facebook and Instagram.
Why can't we do that? Why can't Black people do it consistently stop supporting companies that don't really rock with us or support the Donald? I mean, we do it for a Tuesday, we may do it for a Friday, but we need to boycott it for a while. Those companies who don't rock with us, why do we rock with them?
And I always look at those one-day campaigns because it doesn't make sense to me. You don't buy gas on Tuesday, but you go fill up on Monday.
Right.
You don't play the radio, you don't play music on a Wednesday, but you back at it on Thursday. Consistency is, as you say, is not apparent here. With a lot of the things that we do. And you may
feel it for a month. For a month, you're gonna feel that.
But think about this, guy. Think about Montgomery, Alabama. For a full year, Black folks did not use public transportation a year. 1955, right? So from December to December, they did not use the public transportation system, right? And so obviously, Montgomery, Alabama public transit, the bus system, they felt it.
Right. And it's even harder back then because everybody didn't have cars.
Yeah.
There was no subways. There was just the bus. So a lot
People
of diabetes was down because they walked. Diabetes was down back then.
Those that did have cars, they picked them up, and they drove them as far. I think that's where some of the jitneys started there in Montgomery because, they were taking people, as far as they could go, and then they would walk the rest of the way. We've got to have this, and we've got to show, because if we talk about the disposable income of the African American community being $3 trillion. and we
Yeah.
don't show the muscle that we have for this, then something's very wrong. And we've
And
got to be
this
able
is
to.
how messed up. This is how messed up that is, because the average black household income is $80,000,
Right.
and the average white household income is $180,000.
Yeah.
But we spend,
How much more? Yeah.
oh my God.
And just think, if Nike didn't do right by us, if Adidas didn't do right by us, will we stop buying their stuff? And I know that you have your own particular brand that you like, and you got all your stuff because that's the OCD in you. You got
That's
all
the
your
OCD in me.
all your stuff
But
is matched up and lined up and everything. But are people willing to make that sacrifice to not buy? And I'm not saying Nike. I'm just using that as an
right,
example.
Nike has actually done a great job with
Yeah.
with Kaepernick, and even with Tiger. When Tiger Woods got into that trouble, they stuck
Right.
by Tiger. When
Yeah.
Kaepernick got into the situation, they stuck by Kaepernick. Now I'm an Adidas guy,
Right.
and if they do something out of the pocket, then
Could you do it? Could you do it?
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. But yes, I was black before I was an Adidas fan. I was a fan of black people before I was a fan of Adidas. So
So
Adidas
stop hate
don't
for
drop the ball.
profit. Watch out for this organization and this campaign. This organization composed of other civil rights organizations, and watch for what they're doing, because I think they're starting to feel it. I'm not sure how much they're feeling it, because if you think about the fact that Facebook has, I want to say that I read that they make about $7 billion a quarter.
Woo.
Advertising. So that's a lot of companies are going to have to stop for them to feel that kind of pressure in the pocketbook. But here's something from your beloved Los Angeles Lakers main man, LeBron James, expanding his media empire. His company with his partner, Spring Hill, and now they are expanding Spring Hill to include several divisions, and they include athlete empowerment and consumer company called Uninterrupted, a culture brand agency called Robot Company, and a production company. Guggenheim Investments and others are backing his vision with $100 million.
And I have not been the biggest LeBron fan, only because he used to kill my Lakers every time he played them. But I have to say, what he's done off the court is just amazing.
Yeah.
And not only stepping up for civil rights and human rights, but just with his business. I mean, you look at his background, how he grew up, and where he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's like, wow. And he surrounded himself by the right people.
Yeah.
And he's very gender friendly when it comes to employing women of color and all of that. So hats off to LeBron James, who I think is a great example, a great role model for those who come from nothing and make a world out of their skill. That's the definition of using God's gift that he gave you to serve others.
Yeah.
And if you take care of that gift, and I said this when Kobe passed away, when you take care of that gift and you see what it does, the impact it has on the world, you've done a great job with your gift that God gave you. And no one is born without that gift, with a gift. And your job is to use that gift to serve others and make it just amazing.
Yeah. My mom used to say, when you cast your bread upon the waters, you don't know how it's going to affect others. But he is one that has cast his bread, and now, and he's not even done yet. I mean, he's not even finished his day job.
Right. We want him to finish that.
Yeah, and bring you a championship.
Yes, bring us a chip, Bron.
I would be willing to say that, I would support the Lakers, because I just think that he's just so magnificent in his whole approach to life, even like with voter rights and what he has done with, gathering up all these other athletes to encourage our young people to register and to vote, and how important this is. How he steps up, you know, and you know, calls a spade, or calls an orange man an orange man. You know what I mean? And so I really. I think that he really is quite a fine example of, you know, somebody that you want to show your children and say, this is how I think things should be done. And I
have a really really good friend who works with his company, and has nothing but great things to say how he treats the staff, how he treats his employees, and they just got promoted to a huge position in his company, and probably a result of what you just mentioned. But I think he ended up paying, I think, his staff, from what I understand, you know, didn't furlough anybody, and they got their full salary.
Nice. That's
even though things are,
and I don't know how many of us can say that these days.
Right. Well, I didn't get my full salary.
Okay. I
didn't get any of my salary.
so have you had a meeting? Have you had a meeting with his company regarding any of your projects?
There was some inquiry
that you can talk about.
Yes, there was some inquiry on other networks contacting them looking for content. So they reached out to me to see if I had anything. And the one thing that I have, the main thing I have right now is, you know, the documentary, which I literally just hung up a phone call right before getting on with you about the next steps in selling this project. And it's so relevant to what's going on today. A lot of the companies we interviewed with who kind of passed or said, you know, not right now, are coming back, because what I created years ago and what I've been, you know, putting together for years now, it's like, it's still happening, it's still relevant. And now they're like, oh, we thought that was over and done with. After each incident that happened, whether it be from, you know, Michael Brown to, you know, well, even Trayvon, Michael Brown to George Floyd, they think, oh, Rodney King, whatever. They always think it's done, and then and we kumbaya. And no, it's still prevalent. It still happens, and I don't think in my lifetime it's going to stop. I pray that it does, because I pray I live a long time. But it's just sad that it's the same cycle over and over again. It's the same wheel, just different rims.
Yeah.
We should overcome to can we all just get along, to I can't breathe, to hands up, don't shoot, to Black Lives Matter, to I can't breathe again.
Yeah.
What's the next set of rims are we putting on this racism bullshit?
Wow.
Because it's the same wheel.
That's a powerful
they're not
image.
the wheel.
Yeah.
It's just a new rim. Oh, new rim. It's sad.
It's the same raggedy car underneath.
Same raggedy car.
Tell people about your project and what you're doing, what you can tell us.
Fat Tuesday is the documentary I've been talking about forever. And it's not just about, you know, this comedy night created back in 1995 that helped guide a lot of comedians to where they are today, including myself. But it was one of the first of its kind. There was no white comedy club doing a successful urban night anywhere in the country before 1995, before Fat Tuesday. And this night really did open the eyes to other white clubs in Hollywood to have their own urban night. Then it spread throughout the country, and it became a place where, you know, future stars were seen. And but the through line of it is what started it actually was Rodney King.
That was it.
Because after the riots in South Central, they quit going south to Wilshire to see, you know, they keep going to the hood to see Black people. So I was the first one to say I took the hood to Hollywood and created this magic. And it's sad that that we're still dealing with basically Rodney Kingism today. And it's funny because I pray every morning that my heart is kind toward our law enforcement. I pray for our law enforcement every morning. Despite how I feel about a lot of them, and I've been honest about my feelings, and in the wake of today's news with all the images you see of the disrespect, especially the gentleman that they pushed down in Buffalo, the 75-year-old gentleman. I mean, no matter what ethnicity, no, we don't need to defund our police officers, but we need to reform our police officers and put some of that money toward training, maybe psychologically, bigger screenings toward that, or longer screenings for that, a longer time in the academy. But the police I talked to some of my police friends, and some of the stuff that they do, I just don't approve of. Some of them literally talk about planting stuff on people. And even though, and they gave me a scenario of, well, what if this guy is a hardened, drug dealer, and we know it. He needs to be off the streets because he's terrorizing the community. So we'll just plant something on him. That's still wrong.
Right.
As much as I want the big drug dealers off the streets because they can harm me or my family or whatever, but it's still wrong, because if you're planning on if that's your mindset to plan on someone who doesn't have it, you plan on anybody.
Yeah.
That's the mentality of stop resisting, stop resisting. Nobody's resisting. You can be 5 feet away from a cop and they'll yell, stop resisting, stop resisting.
Right.
It's like they're trained to say, like they're and excuse me, people who have Tourette's, but stop resisting, like they have Tourette's, stop resisting, stop resisting. And that's like, it automatically comes out. Like, I've seen several videos where the person, it doesn't make any sense. So they're trained to of a certain mindset. It just needs to be reformed. But anyway, the documentary talks about that whole thing, but how we as Black people have gotten through all this bullshit, because laughter purifies the air. And we as comedians have been the air purifier, because we talk about what's going on. We talk about, that's why there's, there's a need for comedians to be on the road, even in this climate of COVID-19 and quarantine. It's like, we need to be out there, and not just for people's sake, for our own sake. Our sanity is based on, or fueled by, being able to speak and talk out. When you're at home with your wife or your kids or your friends or whatever, they ain't laughing at your jokes anymore. And laughter stops. I don't care how funny you are. After a while, they're immune to your brand of comedy.
Right.
So we, for comedians, that's our drug.
Yeah. That's
our lifeline. And as long as it's safe and we feel it's safe, we're going to continue to go out.
Yeah.
Because, at first, I've turned down dates like, nah, I don't want to put my people at risk. My I hate the word fans, but my fan base at risk, and I don't want to be at risk. I'm Black. I'm older, so I don't want to put myself in harm's way of COVID. But if it's a club that's doing the necessary things that are safe, which the one in Memphis was, and I suspect the Improv chain is doing the good thing. I'm in Kansas City coming up, and there is a part of me that's like, but I'm going nuts not being able to grab that microphone and be on that stage, because the clubs in LA are shut down.
Right.
So
that's nothing.
We as comedians, we need that outlet, and some need the money.
Yeah.
There's comedians. It's like with the NBA and the NFL. They say, where do they make all that money? Why are they coming back? Well, there's players on that roster that don't make $1 million, in the NBA or in the NFL. So they need to work. They need to go back to work. They have families to feed. Comedians are the same way. Everybody's not making Kevin Hart, D.O. Hughley, Cedric the Entertainer money, Chris Rock money, Dave Chappelle money. So you have, as long as it's safe, I don't see a problem with comedians going out. I know DL caught a lot of flack for that, but it's like, DL's been a gym rat. DL obviously don't need the money. So what do you think it is then?
Right.
It's our lifeline. It's what I'm kind of lost. Like when I went on the road in Memphis, I was kind of shocked on what to pack. It was automatic for me for years. When I'm off the stage for 2 weeks, it's hard for me to get back on. So the last time I was on stage before Memphis was March 3rd. So the routine, and plus I'm OCD, the routine of what we do is a routine. And when that's disrupted, I was discombobulated. I didn't pack
you were
enough
thrown
stuff.
off,
I was completely thrown off. I couldn't remember my set, the cadence, certain taglines. It was just strange.
Then I found my way. Did you find that you needed to bring some familiarity with you? Like, did you, because I know that you are a mentor to Miss Pretty Ricky, and so did you include her in this, or is
She
that to
wanted to
come?
come. She wanted to come. It would have been great, but she has MS.
Mm-hmm.
So that she has, her immune system is not COVID friendly.
Right.
So it was safe for her. You know, she's a mother of two. She is safe for her to stay at home.
Yeah.
And she will continue until, you know, I don't know how she's going to cope. I pray that she finds a way to cope mentally, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for those who don't live alone, they got to get out the house.
Yeah.
I mean, I know comedians, I won't say their names, who even without COVID, their road, that's their field trip. They can't
Yeah.
wait till they go to a road trip. Me, I'm like, man, I needed this break, and I live alone. But for comedians who are married with kids,
Yeah.
oh my God, they love road. They'll take less money to go on a road just to get the hell out the house. And they make it palatable by bringing their golf clubs and playing the
Right.
But
Right.
now they've been home with their wives or girlfriends or kids for the last. They couldn't wait to get back out on that stage.
Yeah.
But a lot of people need it. You know, a lot of comedians need it financially. A lot of comedians need it just psychologically. And I think people do too, because people are obviously coming out. And I think as long as the club is being socially responsible and distancing, I was in Miami and on
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
I went and saw Bill Bellamy, and Bill's show, it was at the Improv. It was a great crowd. They had them spaced out, and it was a good time. Now the bar's next to the club.
Mm-hmm.
The bar's next to the comedy club.
Right.
You would have thought it was June 2019.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just nothing had ever happened.
Like nothing ever happened. I mean, it was like, yo. And there's a lot of places like that. But some places are ghost towns. Like when I go to the airport in Phoenix, in Arizona, it's a ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and I was frustrated because I had a later flight and all the restaurants were shut down and I was starving. So I had to resort to eating candy, and I'm trying to not eat candy.
Right. You've been on a great program throughout all of this.
Yeah.
And getting in great shape. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
so where are you going to go next? Where do you think your next
date will be? I'm in Kansas City. Kansas City at the Improv, July 10th to the 12th.
That's next week.
It is. Well, yeah. Well, yeah, it is next.
It's a week from Friday.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And then Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in Atlanta at the end of July. So
will you go home to St. Louis in between? Will you go check on your family?
I may check on my mom. I may wait until we're trying to put some family thing together. But
okay.
I may go home first and then go. But my mom, I talk to my mom every day. I started praying with her once a week. Talk to her every day. Or every other day.
And you guys do the family Bible study too, right?
Every Sunday. But you know what, Sybil, that ain't enough.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna tell you what. It's funny because some of these thoughts, and I'm still having. So it's funny because the Peloton I'm on religiously, and I'm doing great. But I shot a sketch on Friday, and with me boxing and training.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing, and I'm sore all over. So the Peloton is great, but it's not enough. I need more. I need more. I need more working out than just the bike. And same thing with the Bible study. And I don't want to get too deep, but doing a Sunday's Bible study is just not enough for me. It's not it's great, but I need to be in scripture at least every day or at least 3 or 4 times during the week, because there's some changes that I want to see made and not being made by just the Sunday Bible study. Well, although that is great because it got me on the right track. But for those of you out there who's feeling, especially in this time, what you're doing it's probably not enough physically and probably spiritually, because this is what is going to get you through this whole, joint anyway.
Yeah.
It's your spiritual.
Well, I feel you, because, I don't talk about this a lot, but because I have such I'm not proud of the feelings I have about Donald Trump. But
Ooh.
by the same token, I pray for him every night.
I pray for him a couple of times.
And I don't think that that's enough. I don't think that that's enough, because it's not. I pray for his heart, and a change in his heart would manifest a change, I think, in the way that he does business with our country and others.
Right.
I don't think that my praying for him every night is enough. And I'm just wondering, and beyond, the whole voting and that change, but just for his spirit, for his soul, he's just such a, and I agree with you, there has to be something more to affect that change than just merely my on a daily basis saying, Lord, please,
for his supporters as well. So his supporters, how can you not see, and black or white, how can you not see the demon in this man? Because they have a lot of them have demon in them as well.
Yeah. And he's bringing out the ugliness in all of them. He really is. But by the same token, I think that he's bringing out the good in so many others who are trying to affect a positive change in this world.
Right.
And so
he's a necessary evil right now.
It really is. Yeah.
And God put him there for a reason. I always say, Bush was a toothache. Okay. Obama was Novocaine. He came in and numbed the racism a little bit, calmed it down, and took our minds off of, what Bush did. And then when the Novocaine wore off after 8 years, Trump came in some rusty pliers and just pulled the damn tooth out.
Oh, man.
And that's how it feels.
But that's a great visual. That's a great visual. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate always. I think I enjoy our conversations, and I think that folks watching and listening do as well. I want to remind people you're going to be in Kansas City on the 10th, the weekend of the
Improv. 10th. Yes, and DL is doing great, by the way. I've been texting him back and forth. He's nice. Quarantining, isolating himself, but he's doing good. He says hello to everybody.
And I hear his son got it
for his prayers.
Yeah. His son got it too, right?
That's what I heard. I didn't ask him, but I heard that too.
He hasn't answered my text, so I'm glad. I'm glad that he's doing. He
thanks everyone for their prayers, but he
nice.
said that everybody been praying for him.
No, and we absolutely have. And please be careful. Please be safe.
Yes, I wear my mask.
Okay.
My gloves. I sanitize everything. And I'm gonna do the same thing I was giving the Eddie Murphy team that same advice. I would stay in my vehicle until it's time to go on stage, and then hit the stage, and then once I'm off, go right back in the car, right back to the hotel.
Yeah, there you go.
And
unless you find a cigar bar that has the social.
Well, I have a couple of picks out, and there's social distancing.
Okay. Everybody, please help me thank Guy Torry for coming on, and we can always follow you at Guy Torry, right?
Yes, at Guy Torry, GUYTORRY on all social media platforms. Facebook is The Guy Torry Show. So yeah.
And I look forward to hearing from you soon, and also getting some more Torry stories from you. Those are my favorites.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Torry stories.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Everybody, thank you for watching. For those who would like to subscribe to the What You Need to Know newsletter, as we said, SybilWilkes.com. For those of you watching us on Facebook, you can go and watch this on YouTube at another time as we save it there. And for those who are asking about Tom Joyner and sending good wishes, he sends his love and appreciation for that, and he will be back on this stream with us very soon. So, Guy, did you have a chance to talk to him while you were in Miami?
Yeah, we had lunch.
Oh, nice.
We had lunch.
Nice.
When Tom summons you to lunch, he's
go.
picking up the tab. Yeah, you go. Whether he's signing your check or not.
Okay, when the Godfather calls, you go. That's right.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you
drop
did.
What you're doing, or you just go.
That's good. That's it. So, Tom, we love you, and look forward to having him here with us again soon. Thanks again, Guy. Bye, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. Right. Kim Whitley will be my guest tomorrow.
Oh, Crazy Kim.
So we will, Crazy Kim is right. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Please be careful. Wash your hands, mask, gloves if you have them, and be careful out there. Bye.